On October 12th of 2023, I did my first video about Gypsy Rose Blanchard being granted parole in 2.5 months because I knew on October 12th of 2023 on YouTube, it's still there, it's still dated, Lifetime posted a trailer for the Prison Confessions of Gypsy Rose Blanchard, which are 6 episodes, an hour each episode. And I just knew that there's something not right with somebody being granted not only parole after only 8.5 years, but the fact that she even got a plea deal for 10 years for committing first-degree premeditated homicide in a capital punishment state. Mitigating circumstances don't matter. It's like context. It doesn't change the fact that you're not allowed to do that to another person. There were people that were very much in support of Gypsy Rose Blanchard, and she did blow up. It took her months and months and months, but she came out and had 3 million followers. But in October of 2023, I noticed something nobody else did. There was already somebody running an Instagram, a Facebook, and a TikTok that is now Gypsy's official accounts. We know that her husband had been doing that for her and then transferred it to her when she got out, which is actually a guideline violation, especially on TikTok. You're not allowed to make accounts in other people's names and then transfer it to them. But of course, that was her legal spouse. I knew from that trailer that Lifetime and the A&E network were responsible because it was set to air and did air on January 5th of 2024. That is strategically 1 week after Gypsy got released on December 28th of 2023. The Daily Mail, People Magazine, TMZ were already running articles about Gypsy in October of 2023. That captured my attention. I knew that they were streamlining this fame and clout and attention for Gypsy at that moment. And I said, wait a minute, this isn't right. Because it's the same thing for anybody else. If it was Lori Vallow Daybell or Karen Reed or the Menendez brothers, a lot of people protested to even Casey Anthony getting paid $85,000 for a documentary where she did nothing but gaslight. And she even named the thing Where the Truth Lies and still lied. Same thing with Sherry Papini, actually thinking she's going to get away with passing a lie detector test with the lie that her ex really did come and hold her hostage. And she flunks that. And then she still tries to double and triple down in the 3rd and 4th episodes of her documentary. What? Or I should say docu-series, because that's technically what it was. I have seen a lot of people come and a lot of people go. And I know a lot of names that if I were to say them right now, all these new people would be like, who's that? That's because you weren't here in 2023 and 2024. But people have often said that's glorifying crime. And it is, because what you are doing is you are motivating and incentivizing young teenagers, children, and young adults into committing a crime like this. And they too will have this automatic TikTok and Instagram, Facebook following, clout, attention. And that will translate into, oop, I got a lot of money now. They have no idea the downside of having that kind of attention and fame. Because even people like Taylor Swift, Donald Trump, yeah, they have supporters, they have fans, they have a fan base. But you know what's crazy is there's not only an equal, but a larger amount of people that are not fans and even haters. I mean, look at Charlie Kirk, look at the conservative movement, look at politics. Yeah, you can have 5.5 million people following you on YouTube, watching your show every day, but there's 340 million people in America. And that's not even 5% of all of America. I said in early of 2024 that Lifetime, A&E Network, Disney Plus, even Hulu, Amazon, that they all need to be held responsible for the integrity of what they are putting, and they don't care. They don't care because if it's getting the views, even if it's haters watching it, even if it's haters that are clicking on it and screen recording it or taking screenshots, that doesn't matter to them because it still equals viewership and monetization for them on their video streaming services, for their books, for their interviews. And we all know that there's a huge difference between fame and infamy. Gypsy Rose is not a dancer. She is not an actor. She is not a singer, a vocalist, a musician. She is not an artist. She is a convicted criminal who took somebody's life. She orchestrated it, she planned it, she plotted it, and she carried it out. After attempting to do that same crime all on her own, a year and a half before she ever met Nicholas in October of 2012. Then there's the abuses on cognitively impaired, mentally disabled people, on autistic individuals. Not only in the fact that she pretended to be a disabled child. You are not going to sit here and tell me from the ages of 16 to the ages of 24, she did not know what she was doing. She knew what she was doing. So that is not Munchausen syndrome. If she could sneak around and lie for over 4.5 years, trying to take her mother's life, trying to hide it, trying to cover it up, she couldn't call police. She couldn't stand up and leave. She couldn't try again. She could sext all of these inappropriate videos and photographs to over 6 different men between the ages of 30 and 55, showing herself topless, showing herself doing all of these inappropriate sexual behaviors. Then there's Dan Glidewell. Then there was Nicholas Godejohn. 8 different men she talked to and associated with. She couldn't tell one of them that she needs help, that she was being abused. She just said on a live recently that she didn't even know she was being abused because she just thought that her mom was weird. She just thought that her mom was overprotective. Yeah, you were 19 talking to some guy on parole from the internet. Some guy who had a problem with hydrocodone and stealing it from people. Like, what mother is going to be like, yeah, I want my 19-year-old daughter to be hooking up with this, 36-year-old guy on parole who has a opiate addiction? You can call it overprotective if you want, but it didn't stop her from running away. Still trying to seek him out multiple times, even though he was not interested in her in that kind of way. But my whole thing is that her friends and her supporters always say, don't invalidate abuse. Oh, don't invalidate my abuse. Don't invalidate the next person's abuse. Everybody has abuse, neglect, or trauma in their life. Literally almost every single person on planet Earth does or will. But when they constantly say, don't invalidate her abuse. Okay, Amber Heard. Okay, Sherry Papini. Okay, Jodi Arias. Okay, Paris Hilton. Okay, Jada Pinkett Smith. How about instead of invalidating somebody's abuse, you validate that abuse happened? Because it's better to do that instead of falsely accuse somebody. If you have to have an attorney tell you that you were an abuse victim for you to realize that you were abused and your mom just wasn't weird, that right there tells you that Gypsy is saying in her own words that her motive wasn't because she was abused, because she didn't know she was being abused, right? She just thought her mom was weird and overprotective. There you have it. She just told you. She said it. She admitted it. But instead of defaming, slandering, libeling somebody else, their reputation, their memory, their legacy, their family, their associates, their friends, by making a false allegation, how about you come 100% correct with 100% evidence that you can validate that abuse truly happened? Because otherwise, you can't invalidate something that isn't true. What you're doing is validating the truth, validating what really happened, using the evidence, the case files, the facts, the research, eyewitness testimony, eyewitness accounts, even discerning between all the contradictory and contrary things that Gypsy Rose Blanchard herself has said and done. Don't invalidate abuse. Validate that abuse ever happened. Show me a video. Show me an audio. Show me one eyewitness. Nobody is perfect, and nobody can be the perfect mom because nobody is perfect. Gypsy Rose Blanchard is a perfect example of this. She's endangered her child multiple times, not buckling her, speeding on a Texas highway, vaping and leaving electric misters on the side of her crib.